I run into a brick wall with verbiage like remove and replace.
Right.
As to remove or just replace. This has
Okay.
done this. This has done that. We look at the exactimate and it's kind of broad. Or it says can be negotiated between both parties. That's where I get slammed up against the wall because they're like, well, if you're tearing off the roof, you're tearing that off anyway. Why do you have to put it as a line item as remove and replace? And I know Tommy will kill me because I ask that to him all the time, but I'm
right.
Yeah,
no, that's totally fine. So are you talking about like when they say, well, the valley flashing is going to come off with the rest of the shingles, or
right?
Okay, so
or
there's
like a pipe jack
pipe jacks,
or roof
vents,
yeah,
right? Okay, so a couple things there. Sometimes this is just one thing that you'll start to recognize is a lot of the objections that adjusters give you are really like weak objections, right? They're so objective that they're hard to prove or deny, right? But because it's hard for them to prove and for you to prove, that means that there's a lot of wiggle room here for you to get over on these guys. And I don't mean get over like scam them. I mean just to get over their objection. So one thing is this, like a couple things that I like to do is use like the detailed line item window, which it'll explicitly say what is and is not included for materials and labor for specific items. Sometimes though, you're right. It's like, I can't really find anything that's like, ooh, gotcha in the lingo. So what do I do now? Well, sometimes you want to talk about, it's the reason that we have to include the removal of this is because all of these things weigh something. And we have to have included haul and disposal for those items. That's not included when we just include it with the price per square. All these items add up. This isn't just a 30 square roof that's going to weigh a ton or whatever. I don't know what it freaking weighs, but it's like this is a roof, 22 feet of ridge vent, 3 lead pipe boots, 35 feet of valley metal. Like these things add up. And it isn't as easy as peeling off shingles. These are sealed up. We have to work at these to take them off, to take care that we're not destroying the decking around them, that we're not disrupting XYZ. So what you want to do is, you'll probably hear me say this in a lot of videos, but I say, you want to paint a really good picture, or you want to tell a really descriptive, illustrated story about why you need what you need. Okay? Because at that point, if you can do that, at the end of the day, with those particular objections that are just like they're just so unsubstantial, like they're just giving you such a BS reason. If you have a good story and you keep rehashing that over and over, you just wear them out. Okay? So that honestly ends up being what it kind of comes down to at the end is, does your reason make the most sense? Are you really illustrating it for them? And wear them out with it. Keep going back. Show them more pictures. Explain all the things like, well, there's sealant all over it and this is nailed in differently and like all these things. It's not the same. And the weight, of the disposal and all that stuff. Like these are all things that they're not the same as peeling off shingles. It's kind of like, trying to think of a good analogy here. Like, what's a good analogy, Jared? Something that
domino effect. One thing affects another, and
well, like all the things add up. I'm not really sure. I'll think of something really clever later, probably. But I was trying to think of an example because that's another thing with people. Remember, you're dealing with people, and if people don't understand something, they have a hard time accepting it. So if you can give them like a very easy to understand analogy, like this would be like this. That's something that you could say. Now, the other thing that I like to use, the strategy is, you almost sometimes, the value in your objection handling comes from differentiating this particular claim from the other ones that might actually follow through with the objection that they're giving you. Like, well, so here's what I mean by that. I like to do this on every claim, and it sounds like I don't when I talk to the adjuster, though. If they say no to something, I go, I can understand why in a regular claim you might not pay for this, and normally we wouldn't ask you to either. However, in this particular claim, this item is all tarred in. There's like 3 different, layers of sealant all over it and tar from someone who tried to fix a leak sometime. We've got A, B, C, D. Give them all these examples. So for this reason, on this particular claim, we do actually need to include this. So now what you're doing is you sound way more reasonable, right? You don't sound demanding, and you actually sound like, oh yeah, I know, normally I would never waste your time with this, but on this one, here's the deal. Thanks for paying it, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
that also helps a lot. You'll just start to learn how to have the conversations with them, because you're just dealing with people at the end of the day. People don't want to be told they're wrong, right? But if you tell them you're not wrong, but maybe here's something you didn't consider about this claim, and I understand why you'd say that because you haven't seen the job yourself, but here's what it is, right?
Right.